All right, what is going on, everyone? We are back, season 5, episode 27. Hit the books. Today is March 12th when you are listening to this, Thursday, March 12th. Sunday is Selection Sunday. We just had NFL free agency. Me and Ace are here to break it down this week. No Mackie, no Jesse. Ace, how are we feeling? I think a 2 week hiatus there. Back, a lot to talk about with this NFL free agency. And a great time in the sports world. World Baseball Classic, a lot going on.
Yeah, definitely. A lot going on here in the sports world. A couple weeks off coaching some high school hockey, so still staying in the sports mix, keeping up to date with a lot of things too. Was kind of riding high from that USA Olympic Championship win over Canada. So since then, a lot's been happening. Like you said, the NFL free agencies here kind of dialed on that. My Patriots making some good moves, kind of like they did last offseason too. Front office seems to be firing on all cylinders. Baseball, the season opener is just around the corner. We got World Baseball Classic and our hometown boys kind of fumbling a little bit, so we need a little bit of magic cooked up here. By tomorrow, when you guys listen, you'll know how that's shaping up a little bit more. My Bruins are sticking right there in that race. They stayed pat at the deadline, but they held on to all their assets and future picks. So we're playing with house money, looking to get into the playoffs. I know you guys are doing the same there, so we're going to be following that down the stretch. Some March Madness around the corner, so that means Mackey's firing out a bunch of 3 2-unit plays, and I'm telling them blindly, but I can't wait to get that on our TV with some midday games. Nothing beats that. Some good UFC, some good golf too. A lot going on here. So ready to get talking here on this week.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll jump right into the NFL free agency. Obviously, free agency, the legal tampering period got underway on Monday. Free agency officially starts today, Wednesday, when we were recording this. So a lot of these deals, a lot has happened since then. The first big one, obviously, the trade that everyone was expecting, Max Crosby going to Baltimore. We for 2 first-round picks. We thought that was going to be, everyone didn't think much of it. We get a report last night, Tuesday night, that the Ravens are backing out of the trade. They're getting their picks back. Max Crosby is going back to Vegas because of a reported failed physical. Do we think Crosby still gets moved? Do we think he stays with the Raiders? I'm very interested to see what they do here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they still have to move him. Look at all the pieces they just signed. They spent so much money in the offseason, thinking he was out the door, loading up on draft picks, and they were set to go on their way. They got the package they were looking for. Then the Ravens pull a backhanded move, cancel it on the physical, then move and sign Trey Hendrickson the next day. I know we'll get into that here shortly, but crazy play by the Ravens here. All I can think of, if this was my Patriots and this was Bill Belichick, I think he'd have a 1 year suspension. We'd be losing draft picks. There'd be an ESPN special on it. But the Ravens, I mean, how do you want to do deals with this team when they're pulling stuff like this in such a high marquee deal? Everybody's expecting to get dealt to a high market team, and he did. And then they opt out, and that's what it says. I mean, this comes a day after Max Crosby saying he's a Raider for life and he wants to retire there. So does that have anything to play into that fact? But yeah, they spent so much money in day one of free agency. The Raiders and the Titans obviously had the most cap space and doing a good job with their spending. But now you have Max Crosby coming back on that big deal. I mean, if they keep him with all those pieces they just signed, because they got Quiddy Pay, N'Kobe Dean, Quay Walker, Taron Johnson, Eric Stokes, Malcolm Kuntz, all on the defensive side of the ball, not to mention Linderbaum and the big contract they gave to him, Jalen Naylor. They're going to draft Mendoza too. I mean, that's a pretty revamped team for a team that just finished in last place. They're looking pretty good. So if you hold on to Max Crosby, not the worst thing in the world, but I feel like they're still going to shop him here.
I think you still have to shop him, but I think the price goes down, doesn't it?
Yeah, after this whole fiasco, it's like, well, we saw that the Ravens caught some backlash for what they ended up giving for that deal. And everybody's like, I think they overpaid. They sold their future. They're giving them a lot of money and tying up that cap space. And now it doesn't even pass the physical. I don't know what you're looking at now for a
I feel
deal.
like a trade shouldn't be official until you pass a physical.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it was reported this heavily.
It's not, but I'm saying it shouldn't be announced to us. Like, we shouldn't know about that if he fails that physical.
Pending physical, yeah, and who would think that Max Crosby gonna fail his physical? Did you see all the reports he couldn't touch his toes? I don't care if Max Crosby can't touch his toes. He's one of the best pass rushers in the NFL.
Yeah, he could not walk, and I'd say by August you'll be able to play. You'll be good.
Do you think this is the Ravens more so saying he failed a physical, or they saw all of their guys leave the door in free agency? They saw that they had no money and no picks for the next 2 years, and they're like, "Oh shit, maybe we
Yeah,
need to
this
rescind
blew
this."
up in our face overnight. We need to figure out a way out of this.
Yeah, and now they look like.
They've never traded a first round pick, and then their first time they trade one, they were going to give up two.
Yeah, and they lost all those big names in free agency too. I mean, they have a lot of holes on that team, and that's a lot of money you're tying up in
I
Max
mean, you
Crosby
knew
too.
Harbaugh leaving was gonna. It's just like the Steelers. I don't know how the Steelers are retaining these guys. because it's a similar situation. The longtime head coach leaves. The Steelers and Ravens have had that lore of like, oh, Tomlin, we'll get to the playoffs. Harbaugh, winning culture, we'll get to the playoffs. Like, no one knows what Jesse Minter's going to be like as a head coach. McCarthy, I guess, a little different scenario. We kind of know what we're going to get with him, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting. They've lost a lot of pieces, and like you said, losing Harbaugh, we now have the New York Ravens and
Yeah.
some of the other moves that we've had. The Tennessee Giants with Dayball and his influence down there as the offensive coordinator. But I mean, we'll get into a couple of these. Obviously, the big ones. We'll start with our teams. You know, the Steelers. They finally go get their wide receiver too. Feels like we've been talking about this for years. Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel. The list goes on and on and on about every guy we've almost tried to trade for. We go get Michael Pittman from the Colts, pair him up with DK Metcalf, sign him to, I think it was a $22 million a year, 3-year deal. It's not all guaranteed. I don't know the exact cap hit and all that, but I really like that move. I've liked him with Indy. Alec Pierce signs a huge deal to stay in Indy, so you knew that they were going to be shopping him around, or the idea that Pierce was going to be trying to stay there. So I like what the Steelers did there. You go get Jamel Dean, arguably one of the better corners or that was on the market this offseason. Rico Dowdle, I did not see that one coming at all.
Yeah.
You lose a guy like Kenneth Gainwell to the Tampa Bay Bucks, and you go get a Rico Dowdle who just
Fair
had a
value
great
too.
prove it year in Carolina. Get him on a cheap 2-year, $12.5 million deal. I mean, for the numbers he put up last year,
Yeah.
1,400 all-purpose yards, 9 touchdowns. I'll take that any day of the week. But I'll let you dive into your Patriots. You already kind of alluded to it, but go through some of the moves and how you're feeling about each of them.
Yeah, touching back on your Steelers real quick, you know what's pretty funny is the shift away from homegrown talent at the wide receiver position,
It
which
is
we
great.
saw
That's what I was talking about. It's crazy, but go ahead.
2000s and 2010s. I mean, they were just drafting guys. Sometimes they were big names, sometimes they weren't, and they developed into top guys. Mike Wallace, Antonio Brown.
Emmanuel Sanders,
Yeah, a lot of these guys that ended up being great receivers in the
Juju.
league, and yeah, the list goes on and on. It's crazy how, but now they've switched to they brought in DK Metcalf via trade. They brought in Michael Pittman. We don't really know who's throwing them the ball. And behind those two, it's kind of thin. So hopefully they can develop somebody, whether it's Roman Wilson or they draft somebody here this year and find their true wide receiver three. But they're one of the toughest physical units on the field. You have DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman.
Sorry.
Those are athletic specimens on that side. Darnell Washington, Rico Dowdle, and he's tough to bring down. A lot of weight going down, so they're going to physically beat teams down, and they're going to play some bully ball. Even without Mike Tomlin, I think they're going to be the same old tough Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't mind what they did on defense here. At least they didn't go super old like they did last year, where they were bringing in guys that were towards the end of their career. Holcomb, Savage, Dean, those are good pieces to plug in. Still unsure of what we're going to really see from the Steelers team this year. I think you are too, but those are some nice names that they did bring in. So I
At
don't
this
really,
point, I just want Kyler Murray. Just please don't bring Aaron Rodgers
I
back
don't
because
think he's going there though. I
they're
think
not
he's
going with Howard.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest name still out there is Kyler Murray, and I do think he ends up going to Minnesota. They let JJ McCarthy season a little bit, or this is just their excuse to not have to start him.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean that's going to be something we're
Schefter
monitoring.
sent a tweet out today that said, per a source, he'd be shocked if Murray's not a Viking.
Yeah, I really think that's a great place to be. And who else can get the most out of him besides Kevin O'Connell? Before I get into my team, maybe we touch on those Vikings a little bit here and see what they've done to date. Not too much. They've been pretty quiet at the deadline, just making a couple of signings, both lower end ones, an edge rusher, a long snapper. So they've been kind of hanging with their pieces. I do like their roster. It was just the quarterback woes. I mean, 2 years ago they were one of the best teams in the league. They got rid of Jalen Naylor. They could be moving on from Jordan Addison, but you still have so many stars throughout that team. And that defense, we know how strong it is, and I believe KOC can get it done. But yeah, touched on my Patriots here. A lot of cap space again. Last year, I think they were the winners of free agency. They did what the Titans and the Raiders did. They signed those big names to the biggest contracts, whether it was Milton Williams or Carlton Davis. Stephon Diggs they ended up bringing in too. They shored up their O-line. They shored up their defense. Robert Spillane was another big one they got in. But they went and spent again this year. Draymond Jones being brought in on the edge. Yeah, you lose K'Lavon Chaisson, who had an overperforming year, ended up going on a 1-year, $12 million deal to the Commanders. But you bring in Draymond Jones on a 3-year, $39 million deal who can play the edge. He's athletic. He's big. We see a lot of these guys in the draft right now who are being praised for their size and speed. Jones is bigger and heavier than them. Been in this position before, not too old, had like 25 plus quarterback hits last year, which is an astronomical number.
Yeah.
Add him into the mix alongside Milton Williams and Christian Barmore, another specimen on that line. I really like the Elijah Vera Tucker signing. I know that he does have injury prone that needs. He's been out with some, but he's
I
a
liked
top.
I liked your answer when I texted you about that.
Yeah, if I was on the Jets, I don't think I'd want to play either. Would you?
No, if I had that's the kind of team, if you're 50-50, you're just 100-0
Yeah,
out.
yeah, I'm not playing. Oh, you good to go this week? Definitely not.
Yeah, no,
Um,
let's wait next week.
But we all saw it last year, right? The Patriots, great season, right? But then they gave up the most sacks in a playoff run in NFL history, got absolutely dominated on the offensive line position in the Super Bowl. And then you go and get the best prospect on the free agency wire, a really young guy in Elijah Vera Tucker. And if he stays healthy, he's actually one of the best guards in the league. That helps out Will Campbell on that side. That helps out Drake May for the future. And it's a 3-year deal. So that gives you a strong O-line coming in next year. They addressed the positions they needed to. The interesting one was cutting Stephon Diggs, but that makes sense with the cap hit he had coming in. He was a great Patriot, changed the culture there. I think that his presence will live on, but you can't really pay him the price tag that they had him at coming into the season. And I really like the Romeo Dobbs signing. He literally does exactly what Stephon Diggs did, except he's getting better throughout the year as well. Diggs is kind of regressing due to his age. Dobbs, reliable target, not a big personality either, fits into the Mike Vrabel scheme. He'll be able to step right in and be that de facto wide receiver one, but also leaves money on the table for us to make a big splash move for someone like AJ Brown or whatever else they want to do via trade. An underrated signing for the Patriots here is going to be the fullback Reggie Gilliam, though. We saw what he did last year for the Buffalo Bills, the holes he was able to create for James Cook being the best running back in the league. If you can spring Travion Henderson for one block, he led the league in 50-plus yard touchdowns as a rookie. I mean, you give him that one extra hole there, he's gone. And a lot of the Bills have high praise for him, saying he's one of the best athletes on the field. So getting a true fullback back, we haven't had one of those since the Patriots dynasty days with James Devlin run next to Tom Brady. And then today, I really like that Kevin Byard signing. I mean, we moved on from Jalen Hawkins, who was good in that secondary. We saw how good rookie Craig Woodson was in the Super Bowl. You have Christian Gonzalez, Marcus Jones, Carlton Davis, Craig Woodson. Now you add the guy who led the league in interceptions last year, first team All Pro, Kevin Byard, who's been one of the best safeties in his career throughout the years for the Titans and then the Bears. So bringing him in too, I mean, that's just a shutdown secondary. And the
I couldn't
Patriots
think.
have
Did he
money to
go
spend.
I for some reason thought he went somewhere between Tennessee and Chicago. He didn't?
No, did he go to Houston? I think he went from Tennessee right
Did he
to
get traded
Chicago.
somewhere and then sign with the Bears?
That could be possible. Let's look at the Kevin Byard career arc. Kevin
I feel
Byard.
like he played a half a season somewhere. He got traded at the deadline from the Titans to somewhere, and then he signed with the Bears.
I know he was a nope. Oh yeah, he was an Eagle. He was an Eagle. Kevin
That's
Byard
it,
was a
Eagle.
very short stint as an Eagle in
He
2023. So
went
I
to the
believe
Super Bowl with the Eagles when they
and he
lost.
lost. Yeah, and
Yeah.
he was a captain so long for that Titans team, and he kind of changed that Bears defense. They had a lot of young guys, kind of similar to the Patriots secondary. Patriots more proven now, I'd say, but he steps right in. He gets to play that role. I mean, that defense is looking mean, and the Patriots still have money to spend. They still have they held on to all their picks too, which is absolutely amazing. So I'm
Yeah.
not mad about that. Would I be happy for get AJ Brown? Yeah. Do we need to? I really don't think so. Josh McDaniels gets the most out of whatever he has in his diverse offense, but I think both of our teams making good moves here early on in free agency. Still a lot more to go. Could see some trades from the both of us. More so, I think, from our team than your team. I think you guys aren't really willing to part with your picks, where we could part with some. Um, so that's something to keep an eye on. But we talked about the Ravens a little bit. They lost a lot in free agency. You talked about the Harbaugh effect of all those guys going over to the Giants, which if I was a Ravens fan, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't want to pay Isaiah Likely all that money. I think they lost Nate
But
Wiggins too.
did you see what Harbaugh kinda did with their tight end situation?
But
Like, a month before the end of the season, Harbaugh gave Mark
oh
Andrews a
yeah, he
3-year,
extended Andrews. Yeah.
$40 million extension knowing he was getting fired.
Yep. And then he
Let
takes their young
Likely
guy.
hit the free agent market and signed Isaiah Likely to a $100,000 more
Identical.
contract.
Yeah, 3 years, 40 million.
Yeah.
So
So now the Ravens are
13.
stuck with Mark Andrews on that money on the books for the next 2 or 3 more seasons.
I personally am not. I think it's tough to pay Mark Andrews at that age, but I'm personally not a big Isaiah Likely fan. He's a glorified wide receiver. I know that they have a very big place in this game in their mismatch, but I don't know. I like a guy that can do it all and block a little bit for you too. I don't know if I'd pay him that much money, but shout out to the Giants. They have the money to spend in a young team. Go get that
Yeah,
playmaker.
they're not paying a quarterback yet,
The
so
Ravens, though, Huff, we talked about moving on from Max Crosby. Very next day, though, they go out and get Trey Hendrickson. I think that quelled a lot of the fears that the Ravens fans had. They were like, "Oh God, we have nothing now." But the silver lining is you keep all your picks and you have Trey Hendrickson on the same price. Not much of a difference. I know Crosby is much better, but Trey Hendrickson's top 8 pass rusher in the league, I'd say, off the top
yeah,
of my head.
yeah.
Good ad there. They grabbed Jalen Hawkins for my Patriots too, so a nice safety ad. We know how torched their secondary was getting last year, so a guy that played every snap on the best team in the AFC last year doesn't hurt. But I think that Trey Hendrickson move is big. I just can't believe that the Ravens keep tying up so much money in singular guys when they have a lot of holes to fill. we talked about this before. It's like the Brady effect when he took the pay cuts to play on teams so they could spend the money throughout the teams. You're looking at all these teams now, the Chiefs, the Ravens, like you're paying all these guys such a lot of money, and then it's the teams like the Patriots and the Seahawks going to the Super Bowl. I don't know, just my thought process. It's
Yeah,
interesting to say.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of big moves. Obviously, I think we're still going to see a couple more. Obviously, Kyler Murray's still out there. We'll see where he ends up going. Like I said, I think it's pretty much written on the wall that he's going to be a Minnesota Viking. At least that's what
I like that
Adam
one too.
Schefter thinks. But I'm hoping to get him in Pittsburgh. Just really don't want Aaron Rodgers back here, but I think the writing's on the wall for that. But
What
yeah,
about
it's been a good.
that Kenneth Walker deal of the Kansas City Chiefs? I'm actually pretty hyped. I know a lot of people like to hate on the Chiefs, but I think that's a great deal. I can't believe the amount of good players the Seattle Seahawks let walk in free agency.
Yeah, it happens every year to the Super Bowl champion.
But that's a lot of people, and that's your
Yeah,
Super Bowl MVP. I know they have Zach Charbonnet, so like this move I'm not too worried about as much. But the Tariq Woolen move, you lose him to the Eagles.
I think the Chiefs kind of overpaid a little bit.
You think? I mean, they've been desperate. When's the last time they had a good running back? Jamal Charles?
That's why they think they were just like, fuck it, just pay him. Like,
And if you out of an elite running back, I'd say Kenneth Walker's a top 10 running back. I don't know. He's never gotten the full lion's
I
share
don't
of
know about 10.
workload. What do you think he is? 10 to 15?
I bet he's in the closer to 15.
Yeah, so 12 to 15, we'll say. But he's never gotten that
We could
lion's
rattle off
share
an
of
8
work.
before you even like start
Yeah.
thinking. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but has he if he got the full workload like some of these guys got? I don't
No.
know. We saw it in the Super Bowl. He always had Charbonnet to split with, and I think his touchdown numbers are pretty deflated from those vultures, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of running back, a move I like that sent Montgomery to the Texans. They replace him
Mm.
with Pacheco. I
That's a good
mean,
2.
that's a great number two. Pacheco was never really able to get it going with the Chiefs as the number one. He always
Mhm.
had Hunt or someone else there to,
Injuries.
running back by committee. That's kind of how the Chiefs have been. But I think that's a great replacement for David Montgomery as a goal line hard nosed back. But I think this is mainly the year of Jameer
Jahmyr
Gibbs
Gibbs.
could possibly be up for the offensive player of the year.
Yeah, him and Bijan Robinson finally getting to be sole backs. They lose LJR, they lose Montgomery in their backfield, so they get to get the full workload. But I do like your thoughts there with the Pacheco signing. I mean, we've never seen Jahmyr Gibbs with a completely full workload. So if there's a chance he gets dinged up, misses a week, gets hurt, we'll knock on wood for it because we want to see a full Jahmyr Gibbs season. How many people are gonna be flocking to the waiver wire? I got Isaiah Pacheco, and you're like not too worried about it, and then he puts up 12 for 36. Um, but that'll be interesting to watch. What about the move that a lot of people thought was an interesting one? Sometimes careers go to die when they do things like this. Travis Etienne going to the New Orleans Saints, first time playing without Trevor Lawrence since he was in high school.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Saints are kind of building something decent down there. I think Shuck is their guy.
Me
I
too.
think he could end up being pretty good. It's a weird division. The Bucks just lost Mike Evans. We didn't touch on that one, but I think the Saints. That's a weird division. The Panthers spent a lot of money in this free agency. They went and got Jalen Phillips. I don't hate the move. I think they overpaid for him. What are you going to do with Kamara though? Are you going with Kamara and ETN?
He only wants to retire at Saint. He kind of tied their hands because he should have been dealt at the deadline a couple of times. Would have liked to see him go to a contender last year, the year before. Someone like the Chiefs could have used him, but he wants to stay there. He's just going to be their RB2, I guess. Because all those
Yeah,
young guys they kept rolling out for Shuck were nothing. Neal and
Velas,
DeAndre
Jones, and
Miller. Oh,
yeah,
DeAndre Veely.
yeah,
No, he's
Bailey.
a
Yeah, that's
receiver.
it.
Yeah, whatever it is. But Neal and Miller, I never liked anything they had besides Kamara. So
Yeah,
ETN had an insane season. Is that the Liam Cullen effect, or is it actually him? And he's got to stay healthy. A 4-year deal at that price tag's pretty lofty, so hopefully he
yeah.
can live up to it. They also ended up bringing in Noah Fant, a couple of linemen here, some other moves we'll touch on quick. The 2 corner ads for the Rams, the trade for McDuffie, and then they brought in Jalen Watson, both from the Chiefs. So they have a lot of money tied up in their secondary, but I mean that helps. Where
They
else did
needed.
they
That
need
was like
help?
their only problem.
Yeah, what else do they need help in? We touched on the Saints. They also grabbed Noah Fant, like I said. The Giants, Tremaine Edmonds is actually a really good ad. Um, Micah McFadden. They got a real kicker. My Giants friends were actually really hyped that they got a real kicker. You remember they were rolling out the Irishman that was playing rugby last year? And my buddy sends a screenshot. He goes, "Finally!" They get Jason Sanders from the Miami Dolphins, a pros pro, a guy that has a big leg too. We touched on the Raiders and the plethora of money they spent. I think they could make some noise. They're in one of the toughest divisions in football, though, so I don't know how much noise, but they're setting up Mendoza for success. You already have Genti and Bowers. I mean, I still think they're lacking in the wide receiver game. Jalen Naylor, how good is he? I don't know. Um, Texans adding Reed Blankenship that broke up the exciting whites and for the Eagles. They brought in Braden Smith. That's a great lineman. We saw how badly CJ Stroud was getting crushed last year. I think they're rolling with Stroud again. Remember, people were saying, "Oh, they're not going to bring back Stroud's their guy." I think
Yeah,
he's their guy.
yeah.
The Cleveland Browns shoring up that D line, or O line. They spent a ton of money to protect Shadur Sanders. So I would like to see Shadur Sanders with a clean pocket because I think he has the floor of a Mac Jones, in my opinion. I don't know. I want to see it. The Jets paid a ton of money around. Do you think they made any good moves, or is it just a bunch of bad ones?
Yeah, I think it's just the Jets. We have to see it before we can believe it from them.
It's all veterans too. Demario Davis, Minka Fitzpatrick, Geno Smith, David Onyemata. Like, are those guys making differences? I don't know. Malik Willis going to the
No.
Miami Dolphins. What do you think about that?
Eh, I was telling Mackie last night, I'm like, that's the one, like moves like that are what make me glad that I'm a Steeler fan, not like a Arizona Cardinals or Miami Dolphins. Like our teams, no matter how desperate you are for a quarterback, we would never pay a backup quarterback that came in for 6 games, $66 million over 3 years.
Yeah, I agree.
I
I
don't care
don't
how good you look in those 6 games. Like certain teams are just like, we're good on that. We'll draft somebody. We can
I
figure it
don't
out.
think Malik Willis' ceiling so high, but I think his floor is better than Tua, though, so we could see some more stabilized games for the Dolphins. You get that RPO and, read option running with Malik Willis and Devin Achane. I mean, might not be terrible, but they have a
Yeah.
whole new coaching staff too. I don't know, 3 years is a long
Waddle, they
time.
still have. I mean, they lost a lot, but it's gonna
What about
be
the Colts paying Danny Dimes $44 million a year?
that's a lot, yeah, and I like him, but that's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Alec Pierce. Okay, Alec Pierce is really good, but why did his stock rise so much when he only had 47 catches? He's making $30 million a year, top 10 paid wide receiver in the NFL, 4 years, 116 mil. I think he's going to be good, but I don't think he's top 10 good.
Yeah, no. The money they were handing around this week is insane. Odafe Owe got, like, 4 years, 100 million to go to the Commanders.
Yeah, they just have money to spend. We'll get to them in a minute. They sign a lot of people, but this Alec Pierce thing, like so many teams were in on. My team was in on. He was offered more money by other teams. They turned down to stay in Indianapolis.
Yeah,
Where did the Alec Pierce stock come from?
yeah.
I know he had a good late season, but
I don't know.
I mean, shout out to his agent though. He really worked the
Yeah,
books on that one. The
yeah.
Broncos staying pat with a couple of re-signings, nothing crazy there. The Commanders, they brought in Amik Robertson, Adafe Owe, Tim Settle, Clavon Chiason, Nick Cross, Leo Chanel. They brought in Chigo Konkwo. With a healthy Jaden Daniels, I'd like to see them compete in the NFC East. I don't think there's anybody too scary. The Eagles showed signs of life. I don't know how much longer their dominance will stay. The Panthers bring in Kenny Pickett, 5th team in 5 years for Kenny Pickett. I mean, he's just the it's a one-year deal, so he's gonna be somewhere else next year. It's
Yeah,
just
he's gonna
funny.
be a different team next year, probably Miami or
You think Jalen Phillips was an overpay there? I know he helps their defense tremendously. $30 million a year for 4 years, so 120 total.
yeah, I think it's an overpay, but I think you kinda have to do that. Like, they have
They
money to
needed to
spend,
get
there's
that
guys
guy
out there. Yeah, you need someone like that.
because they don't have anybody on that defense. They
They
also
got
brought
rid
in
of
Devin
Brian
Lloyd.
Burns. They had to trade Brian Burns when they traded him, like, he was their guy.
Yeah, Jalen Phillips, good ad there. Devin Lloyd, another good ad that really helps you at that edge and linebacker position. Tyler Algier, do you think he takes over that lead back duties in Arizona? I don't think Connor comes back and takes the job. We didn't see anybody step in too well and be the guy, Bam Knight and Michael Carter. He got that 2-year, $12 million deal. It's a guy I really like behind Bijan Robinson. Never really got that full starter's workload. I always thought he was a good running back.
Yeah, I think it'll be at least you know, 1A, 1B scenario. I don't think either one is better, you know what I mean? I think they're gonna give Connor
He's
his
still
chance, he's
young.
been there, but, you know, coming off an injury, I think it's looking like it's gonna be Algiers' team.
Yeah, and then they brought in Gardner Minshew too. Will be interesting to see if they start him at quarterback. I wouldn't really want to do that, but I guess they
Yeah.
don't really seem to care. They want to reset
Yeah,
that
they're
whole
just
team.
a terrible organization.
The Falcons with a lot of weird moves. I thought a funny one though was bringing in Tua Tagovailoa to back up Michael Penix because then you have the lofty lefty split. It was if you ever were to sign Tua Tagovailoa to a backup job, I mean that's the best one you could do. You don't have to change your offense when Penix gets hurt.
Yeah, it's lefty, lefty, injury problems, injury problems.
Yeah. Rashid
What could go
Shaheed
wrong?
signing that 3-year, $51 million extension with the, Seahawks. I think it's a good ad. They just lost a lot of guys, though.
But
Pacheco,
stay up
like you
there
s
with JSN, that's a smart move for him.
yeah, the Bears adding a lot, though, actually, nothing too crazy. They had some line help. I think Devin Bush is probably their biggest splash of this free agency.
Yeah. I thought that
Does he
was an
help?
overpay, but
They
he had a
lost
good year
Tremaine
last year.
Edmonds, though, right? They had Tremaine Edmonds, they end up
Yeah.
losing him. You bring in Bush. Yeah, I think Bush kinda peaked. I don't know how much better he can be. The Niners getting Mike Evans, you think he's gonna be good there? Is he the wide receiver 1, or you think it's Ricky Pearsall?
He's the one. He's the one.
I think so too. And I think that's a good offense. You know who feeds his superstars is Kyle Shanahan, and it's smart by the Bucks to move on, right? They have Emeka Ibuka, they have Chris Godwin still, they have Jalen McMillan. I like the options they have there. They brought back Cade Otton, they brought in Kenneth Gainwell, so I think both those teams will be solid once again. But a lot of good stuff going on in the league here. Boye Mafe signed a 3-year, $60 million deal with the Bengals. They also brought in Brian Cook. That brutal defense gets a little bit better. It couldn't get worse. So that's nice to see.
Yeah.
The DJ Moore trade, you guys touched on that last week? I mean,
Yeah, I think we touched on that. The Buffalo. I thought. What did you
that's
think
their
about
only
that?
move. Uh, I mean, they kinda needed somebody. You can't keep rolling
Yeah,
out there with,
Khalil Shakir,
yeah,
Keon
Khalil
Coleman.
Shakir, Keon Coleman, who they hate, and they got rid of, I mean, they still have him, but they got rid of the brass that was really big fans of him, so I don't know. A lot still to happen, but some good stuff so far. An interesting few days. I think the Ravens fiasco is just, like, nuts to us. We've never really seen something like that, so
Yeah,
I don't know if you can trust them moving forward, but I like what my team did. I like what a lot of teams did. I think some of the biggest impacts. I think Kenneth Walker's going to be nasty over there in Kansas City, but we'll see.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, we'll move into the NHL. It's been obviously my Penguins, your Bruins, two teams that didn't have much expectations coming into the year. We're finding ourselves in a playoff hunt with about 20 or
Mhm.
so games left. But our power rankings for this week, Minnesota at number 5, those Buffalo Sabres finding themselves
Nasty.
at number 4, Carolina at 3, Dallas at 2, and Colorado at 1. Buffalo, we had them at 5 last week. We said they were making their appearance. They turn out they're here to stay. I believe they're on an 8-game win streak. They're an absolute wagon right now.
Mhm.
How are we feeling about these power rankings coming into this week with about,
I love it.
a month left in the season?
You could argue that the Buffalo Sabres are the number 1 team in the NHL right now, the way they're playing. They had that spirited 8-7 win over the Tampa Bay Lightning where they were down in that they were up in that game, then they were down. There was a fight after fight. They answered the bell against a veteran cup heavy team, a team that's been there and saying, "Hey, you're just the same old Buffalo Sabres." They're like, "Hey, we're not." They come back and win. I know it's the backup goalie Jonas Johansson, so you can take it with a grain of salt, but that stadium's absolutely buzzing. Their depth is insane. Jason Zucker, Tage Thompson, Alex Tuck, Josh Doan, Jack Quinn, Josh Norris, and what about the defensive core? Rasmus Dahlin turns out to be a rat, I guess, because he keeps getting people suspended
Seriously,
left and
dude.
right. But he's one of the best defensemen in the NHL, and you also a good captain too. He may be a rat, but I like the way rats play hockey. Brad Marchand's there for a reason.
The
You
video of Marshawn ripping his helmet apart in the
Oh,
penalty
yeah,
box,
yep.
that was
What about
great.
he got Malkin suspended, he got Matthews thrown out or suspended in an outdoor game. I mean, Marchand going after him. You're getting some of the biggest names hot-headed. I saw a quote today that said, "Imagine we're in the Stanley Cup and Rasmus Dahlin gets Nathan MacKinnon suspended for a day." I
Yeah.
mean, I would love to see that. Nate he, like, has a hot head too. I don't know if I can trust their goaltending too much, but they've played well this season. Alex Lyon and UPL. But Ballon Byram, they brought him and they drafted Owen Power. I liked what they did. Still surprised about that Colton Parayko backing out of that deal to Buffalo. I think
Yeah,
that was
that was
kind of
weird.
strange. He exercises no movement clause, but it is the NHL. A lot more teams are loyal. They care about their family and home life outside of the rink a little bit more too than other leagues. And plus, it's Buffalo. I mean, I know you're in St. Louis, but
Did he win he won a cup with the Blues?
yeah, he has a cup with them. I believe he has a family too.
So
He's a
he's not
veteran.
facing. Like, if he was
Yeah.
if they would have lost that cup to you guys, I could see that deal go through.
Yeah, but I think he also has faith in this organization. While he's been there, they've had peaks and valleys in St. Louis, so they know what it's like. We had some good matchups the last few days. We've seen the Oilers getting back up there, and they've been taking on the Golden Knights. They've been taking on the Avalanche, that Avalanche team, man, since they added Nazem Kadri and Wedgwood and Blackwood playing well in the net. That's going to be a tough one to knock out in the West, but that West is top heavy and loaded. The Stars, the Avalanche, the Golden Knights, the Oilers, the Wild. The Wild are my dark horse. I know that when you get to the playoffs, the Stars and the Wild kind of fade a little bit, but those are my 2 teams to watch, Stars and Wild. I think one of them finally gets over the hump and gets the cup, but you can't count out Connor McDavid, and you gotta be worried about the Colorado Avalanche. I don't think the Knights have it this year, do you? You're a big Knights guy. You like them like I do, but I don't think it's
Yeah,
there yet.
I don't think they have enough.
No, it's a weird team. The depth isn't great. The
I don't
defense
love
is
the
a little bit
goaltending
weaker.
either.
I hate the goaltending. I hate the goaltending. It's been bad for a while. Ever since they lost Logan Thompson, I haven't liked it. But Hill won him a cup, so like, how do you cut ties quickly? What about the Anaheim Ducks? I mean, they're on a nasty home game win streak. They're one of the best teams with Joel Quenneville eclipsing 1,000 wins with them. Guys like Cutter Gauthier, Mason McTavish, Leo Carlson, the young guys Jackson Lacombe, Oscar Zellweger. They're jumping on. They brought in John Carlson. They have vets like Killorn and Kreider. Lucas Dostal is one of the best goalies in the league. They're leading that Pacific. Can they make a run? And the funny thing is, before you get to your point, that whole Pacific wouldn't even be in the wild card picture for that the East. But what do you think about this Ducks team in the Pacific?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're a little maybe a year or two early.
Mhm,
Young. Not many people even. I remember when they were in this getting to this point. I was saying about the Penguins, like, all right, let's see if this stays up. Teams like that, they've been a surprise team. Montreal, not many people expected things from, but like you said, Anaheim leading that division, or yeah, that division. That's a weird division, like you said.
mhm.
Vegas, Edmonton, even like Seattle, the Kings having a down year. The Sharks,
Kings weird team.
are fun to watch, but I mean, they can play or lose to anybody in the league.
Mhm.
Anaheim, though, do we think they win that division? Like, do you even think they win the division?
I don't know if they win the division. I think they're locked to be one of the seeds that's above a wild card, and I think they're a scary team to play. Lucas Dostal is probably the best goalie in the Pacific Division. He could arguably be one of the best goalies in the West. He's very young, and guys like Cutter Gauthier and Leo Carlsson are very, very good. Beckett Seneke, the rookie that's showing up for them, has been insane. Their defensive core with Lacombe, Zellweger, Carlson. I mean, they have Radko Gudas back there too. A lot of guys that just played in the Olympics there. And Joel Quenneville is one of the winningest coaches in NHL history. It's a team you got to watch out for. I think they're deeper than a lot of people think. They have a lot of stacked talent. I just can't wait to see Cutter Gauthier on Team USA, man. Next time we get to the Olympics, he's definitely going to be there. 30 plus goals already in his second season in the NHL. But their home ice is absolutely electric. They're undefeated in overtime and shootouts. I don't know if you knew that. It's a crazy stat, too. They've been
I
to a
did
decent
not.
amount. Yeah, and I've been watching them every time. But I think you can give the kudos to the goaltending in that spot. The hostel really standing on his head.
Yeah,
Um,
love
but
it.
it'll be a fun thing to watch. I mean, if you get the Oilers in the first round, though, that's a tough draw. It's a
Yeah.
tough draw. The Golden Knights too. I mean, veteran teams, but McDavid and Draisaitl come playoff time, they're still playing as good as ever. And I think they're starting to heat up. But those goaltending woes, man. Connor Ingram and Tristan Jarry, your goalies. How did we not shore this up, boys? Edmonton, you've been trying for so long. It's been the same issues, defense and goaltending. You can't figure it out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We come down, like I said, about a month left in the season, but we'll jump over to the NBA. Same thing. Our power rankings for this week: Mackey's Knicks at 5, the Detroit Pistons at 4, your Celtics with Jason Tatum back at number 3, the San Antonio Spurs at 2. Arguably could have been 1. I almost put them at 1. Thunder
Mhm.
at 1. I still respect the Thunder, but Spurs have those Thunders, not the Thunder's number.
Yep.
Um,
Both
they're
have
on
been
an
hurt.
absolute tear. I think they've won 17 of 18 now, or 16 of 17. They keep going on these crazy win streaks. Your boys got Tatum back. How are we feeling up there in Boston?
I mean, shout out to Jalen Brown, Joe Mazzulla, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard. I mean, even the bench guys like Neemias Queta, Hugo Gonzalez, Barry Shireman, like they're stepping up. Jordan Walsh, but Tatum coming back and looking already dynamite is great to see. He's had the quickest turnaround of anybody. I guess that's why you get surgery that night. A lot of people put it off for a couple weeks or a month. So he's another add to that force. I don't know if you were watching last night, but we got snubbed. We had Celtics Spurs, and Jalen Brown gets thrown out in the second quarter.
Yeah, I
It still
saw it.
ends up being a very close game to the stretch, but come on, refs, you gotta leave that guy in. If you're gonna give him a tech, do whatever, but we need Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum on the floor. It's one of the most marquee matchups in the NBA right now. You gotta let that one play out.
Arguably could be a finals matchup.
Yeah, it could be, and Wembanyama absolutely had his way, but, I mean, it was tight throughout, and you're definitely missing one of your best players, one of the best players in the NBA. He's had one of the best seasons too. But, yeah, you could argue that the Spurs are better than the Thunder, but the Thunder have been at the top always, and they've been hurt a little bit, like, they've
Yeah,
been
they're not
missing guys.
really 100%.
It's like they're not even trying. They're just kinda coasting their way into the finals. The Knicks, they're playing decent basketball. I mean, if I'm the Celtics, though, who's the scariest team in the East? They handle the Cavaliers with ease every time they see them. That Pistons team, how much do we believe in
I
them?
would say Detroit just because 'cause they're young. They have Duran, they have Cade
They're
Cunningham,
the
like, they
best
have star
team.
power, and they have depth, like, they are a good team.
I feel like
I don't think they're a threat because they have to prove it.
yeah, I compare this Pistons team to the Celtics team that went to the finals and lost to the Warriors, or the team that lost to LeBron when he was still in the East, you know? Like, they have all these good young guys, and they're gonna have bright careers. I think the Pistons have some good days ahead of
You
them. I
guys
think
used to have heat problems.
yeah, and it's like they're just young. They're just young.
Yeah,
Like, you need that playoff experience. What do they have, like, 1 run under them last year where they got knocked
last
out in the
year, yeah.
Eastern Conference quarterfinals in 6 games,
Was it the
to the Knicks?
first round or second round?
Second round, I believe, to the Knicks.
They lost to the Knicks.
Yeah, I think they won the first round against the play-in team.
No, you guys played the Knicks in the second round. Tatum got
Last
hurt.
year? Oh, yeah, I thought that wasn't the Eastern Conference Finals?
No,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
Knicks would've
so
went to the finals. Knicks didn't go to the finals.
so they might have beat them in the first round. So, yeah, we need to see more out of the Detroit Pistons here. but that's a team that we're watching. Another one that I think has been fun to watch is the Charlotte Hornets. They're playing good basketball. They had a come from behind win yesterday. They got snubbed on the spread for me, but LaMelo Ball and Colt, it's like they woke up this season. They're like, hey, let's play some basketball. They might find themselves outside of the play-in, but does that team have a chance with the skill and star power there?
I
Talk
hope
about a
so.
super young
I
team.
really hope so. I hope they make it.
Of these deeper teams, who do you think has the best chance? Is it the Magic? I think the Magic are a team that's starting to come around a little bit. The
Yeah, probably
Sixers are still the Sixers are hurt though. Tyrese Maxey hurt now too. So it's like, ugh,
I think the Sixers have the best players with obviously a former MVP and Tyrese Maxey, who's
but they're so
probably
hurt.
arguably could be a future MVP, but I'd probably say the Magic. They're the best team top to bottom.
Yeah, Piolo is really good, and they have some other they're a little dinged up too. Um, the Hawks are playing good basketball even with moving on from Trae Young. On the other side, though, the Lakers, they've been some underdogs in the last few games, beating the Knicks, beating the Wolves without LeBron James. Luka Doncic absolutely carrying the load. Austin Reeves chipping in as well. That's a scary team when you get there. Steph Curry out another 10 days. I don't know if you saw that update. So the Warriors, hopefully they can hang on for a play-in spot because I would like to see them get there. Anthony Edwards group, they're playing good basketball. The Suns are hanging around in that mix. I think the Rockets are a very, very good team too. That's an underrated one you got to watch out for with Kevin Durant and then all of the youth, the superstar youth they have around them. They're not talked about enough, and that's not a team you want to see come playoff time.
Yeah.
The Nuggets
Yeah.
too. I mean, if the Nuggets are healthy, they could beat anybody.
Yeah, true. I mean, you have Jokic, you have arguably one of the best players, if
Murray,
not the best player right now. But yeah, I'm excited for the NBA playoffs. I think it's the year. It's kind of the most wide open it's been the past 2 years. We had the Thunder. Everyone kind of knew the Thunder were going to win. The year before it was your Celtics. Everyone kind of
yeah,
was just waiting for the Celtics to win it. But I think this year it's pretty open. An injured Thunder team, Celtics getting their guy back, but we don't really know how that's going to look. I'm very excited for these playoffs. I can't wait for it. But yeah, we're sticking to basketball this Sunday, Selection Sunday for March Madness. We have our conference tournaments going on or underway as we speak. Our West Virginia Mountaineers underway right now against AJ DeBansa and those BYU Cougars over there in Kansas City. West Virginia jumping out to a nice early lead. They were a 4.5 point dog there. So rooting for West Virginia to shut down that number one overall pick and those Cougars, but a lot of other good games going on. A lot of the lower conferences had their conference tournaments last week, so we do have some of the official teams locked up for March Madness. Just to name a few: High Point winning the Big South, Wright State winning Horizon League, Northern Iowa, Tennessee State, Long Island. Fins up for Long Island. If you haven't seen that, you'll see it soon whenever they make March Madness. That's like the new Cinderella team that everyone's loving just because of their gym and how 10 people go to their games. But yeah, I'm very excited for March Madness this Sunday. Hoping West Virginia can make a run in this Big 12 tournament. If they get past BYU, they certainly have a chance. So something to keep an eye on there. But yeah, I mean, other than that, World Baseball Classic's been great. You kind of
hey,
alluded
Hoff,
to it.
real quick.
Yeah.
With the March Madness here, before we get to Selection Sunday, I know we'll dive in a lot more next week. Um, who are two or three favorites that you think a lot of people are going to be picking to win, and who's one or two teams that you would pick
Flor-
from the top of your mind that could make a run?
I think Florida is probably a popular pick. Everyone loves a repeat. Everyone loves that idea. They are good. They got guys like the transfer from Princeton. I'm blanking on his name. Lee, I think is his last name, but they have certain guys that they have the caliber, and obviously that they're able to do it. I'm pulling up the odds here because I don't even actually know the odds for winning March Madness. I haven't looked at this yet. I'm
And
trying
a
to
lot of
find it,
people
but
like the Wisconsins, the Michigans, Illinois.
Michigan, Michigan's tough. I think Michigan's a good pick to win it because they're such a good team, top to bottom. They have the big guys that can compete with anyone in the country. But teams like Arizona is going to be a popular pick. Will they ever get it done? I don't know. Teams that I like that maybe more a little bit of value pick. Iowa State 22-1.
They
They
came
could
into
put
the
a.
year heavy, right?
What'd you say?
They came into the year as like one of the teams to watch out for, right?
Yeah, they're all. I mean, they're always up at the top of the Big 12. I like Iowa State, Kansas. If you can get Darren Peterson in the lineup, 35-1 for Kansas. UConn, I think, will be another popular one per always. But your favorites are Michigan at plus 325, Duke plus 333, Arizona 475, Florida plus 600, and then Houston at plus 1,000. But yeah, my value play is going to be Iowa State. I'll probably end up having them. I don't know if my bracket, if I'm going to throw some money on them to win it, but I love that price. I'm going to shop that around and see what I can find those Iowa State Cyclones at. Duke's the best team in my opinion. That's probably going to be 56% of brackets will have Duke ending it. Will they win it? They're the best team. They'll probably get to the Final Four, but the best team hardly ever wins. we're in the NIL era where we're probably not going to, the era of the upsets are kind of over. The Cinderella runs with some of these teams just being $20 million rosters going up against mid-major schools. But yeah, I think we're in for a great March Madness run, like kind of like what I said in the NBA, a year where it's very open up. Last year we had Florida, who everyone knew was the best team. We've had UConn in the past. I don't think there's that one team this year. Obviously, everyone's pointing to Duke, but anytime Duke's good, people go, point the finger at Duke. Duke's the best team. They get all the blue blood hype. They get everything.
And they choke.
But I truly think it's going to be a team like an Iowa State, an Illinois. Man, I do think Florida has a chance to repeat, especially because I like the idea that the last time Florida won, they did go back to back in
Mm.
06, 07.
It's
They
that.
win it this year. Could they just go back to back again and that just be their thing? And then they go another 20 years.
Hmm.
But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I always got to see how the bracket turns out. And then that's usually when I take a future once I can kind of see what their path looks like. But
Mm.
yeah, Selection Sunday this Sunday. Stay tuned. We're going to be getting conference tournament picks out all weekend. I think Mackie ended up posting a couple for you tonight. I didn't end up looking at the board today. It's tough with these fucking noon games when I'm at work, and I realize the games start at noon, and I can't, look into anything the way I want to. But yeah, we'll get some of these picks out. West Virginia's on right now, hoping they get, advance. But yeah, like I said, the World Baseball Classic's been heating up. Our boys need some help tonight in a game that's
Crazy.
underway. I believe right now, 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. I'm not sure when this game starts, but USA loses to Italy 8-6 in pool play Tuesday night at Dakin Park. All eyes are on Italy, Mexico tonight at 7. So this game is underway on FS1. Multiple advancement scenarios are still in play for all three remaining teams in Pool B, our pool. If Italy beats Mexico, then Italy at 4-0 in pool play would be the Pool B winner, and Team USA at 3-1 would be the runner up. Italy and the US would both advance to the quarterfinals, but if Mexico defeats Italy, then Mexico defeats, I can't read this. If Mexico defeats
Mhm.
Italy, or if it, fuck, I'm skipping that part. In that scenario, Mexico would advance, and a mathematical
Less
tiebreaker
than
would be
5. Less than
required.
5
Yes,
runs.
the less than 5 runs. So basically, if there's less than 5 runs scored, is it by either team? I didn't
By
really
Mexico.
understand that.
By Mexico.
So if Mexico scores 4 runs,
USA is screwed.
it doesn't matter if they win or lose.
If they lose, if Italy wins, no matter what, USA's in. If Mexico wins but scores less than 5 runs, USA's out.
So if
If
Mexico wins 5-0, are we in?
I believe so. I think it's 5 plus, so I think the 5 would
Okay.
cover it. But
Okay.
I think if it goes to extra innings, then USA's out.
Jesus Christ. I gotta get this game on.
Imagine this USA team not making it. It's craziness.
Did you bet them
Um,
to win it? I did. I took plus
no,
100. I was
no.
like, fuck it, they'll take it.
You thought it was free.
Yeah, I was like, fuck it, they're gonna win it.
Now we're sweating in pool play to
I'm
even get
sweating out
them.
a fucking pool play, Italy versus Mexico.
Yep, just because we had to start Ryan Yarbrough. You see the names on that roster, and in a
Well, they started
game.
McLean.
Yeah, and then Yarbrough got shelled a little bit too. Jack Caglione really snapping it out. Kyle Teal with a home run too, but offense not coming to life until like 7th or 8th inning. But it's crazy they gave up that many runs. I mean, you hate to see it. Mark
Yeah.
DeRosa, the manager for Team USA, seemed like he didn't even know they could miss the playoffs in the pool play.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
It's like, how do you not know the rules? But regardless, you're Team USA. You should just win the game. Just win.
Yeah, just win. Yeah, don't worry about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
craziness.
it's going to be interesting. We got some good sports heating up. Great weekend coming up with the players. We'll get some picks out for that. You always know my rules. I hate betting golf going into Thursday. I'm more of a weekend better.
Live
Get
better.
some live odds on these guys. Obviously, Scotty Brooks is playing great. He's a great pre-round bet. He's always a popular one. But yeah, stay tuned to our social media. Hit the books.pod on Instagram. Hit the books_pod on Twitter. That's all I got for you this week. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. We'll see you next week.